Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad that you are at the Bull Nation Live podcast. Um, I am Jillian, and I'm your host. And I am here for real, rich, dynamic, fun, inspiring conversation. Um, so I really hope that you all brought your talk on today. I've changed obviously the venue to be on um, on Zoom, so that hopefully we can have some really fun and interesting conversations as we move forward. I just kind of wanted to have like more ability, and everyone knows Zoom, so just an ability for everyone to really be able to talk, share whatever they would like to do. So essentially what I would kind of like to do to just start off with, as you know, this podcast is called Go to Your Room. And I just feel like there can be so much that we can talk about around this, and I hope you get as much out of it as I do too. But I kind of wanted to just share my screen for a minute and kind of take you behind the scenes to Live Fiercely Bold and the course that I offer. And the reason why I say that is because this topic, Go to Your Room, really speaks to the part of the course, or the lesson of the course, that's called childhood influences. So I felt like it might be kind of fun for you guys to kind of just see what the backside of the course is, what it looks like, what I offer, and really some of the inspiration for this topic came from discussions in this session. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick here and take you behind the scenes. And I just kind of wanted to show you here. This is the course right here. And this is lesson 1, which is childhood influences. And we have a really great little, there's a video of me. I'm giving a lot of descriptive around what this lesson is. And it is really what it says here. Who were your childhood influences or influencers? And that's kind of why I just wanted to bring this, because I think that is some of what we might be discussing today, is just really some of what we experienced as a child, and then also, transform that as an adult. So here's the course. It's really fun. You just go down here and you click your lesson. It has kind of wanted to show you just how how beautifully illustrated the course is. Once you put your download your PDF. This is all written for this particular lesson, and there's just all kinds of help that you can fill in. This is all fillable. I also give you a Word document if you're more of someone that wants to write. So there's just all kinds of rich information in this lesson. And you can see now we're just now getting into Module 1, Childhood Influences. So I just kind of wanted to give you an idea. Here's your lesson, and here's all the writing that you'll be doing throughout this lesson. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of reflection. It's just a lot of inner work, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys how beautiful this workbook is, and you would have one for each of your lessons. But anyway, that's the backside, your sneak peek into the Your Life, Your Purpose course. And of course, this lesson, Childhood Influences, was lesson 1. So I also wanted to bring your awareness just because I love this platform for parenting. And since we're going to be talking about like some parenting types of issues, I really wanted to bring this live, love, and love and logic website that I have used for years. I am a certified Waldorf kindergarten teacher, so we do have a little bit of expertise in this area, and so and kind of gives me, the ability to speak about it a bit when it comes to parenting. So highly recommend this Love and Logic as an outlet for parents to really get some great information. So that's where we're at on that. So I'm going to stop live. I'm going to stop sharing now and come back. And I hope you had fun seeing that little sneak peek. And so we're going to just get going on this topic, go to your room. So, I was just reflecting on what that would really mean for someone to, I don't know. Do you remember back when you were young and you did something wrong, and you got sent to your room? And, so many of the hashtags that I want to discuss today, I just want to go through them. So obviously the first one is go to your room. The second one is punishment. The third one is bad girl. Then bad boy, hashtag fight or flight, hashtag mad, hashtag fight, hashtag argument, hashtag trigger, talk to me, intimacy, sex, relationships, spanking, gaslit, bully, yell, prison, why, sacred space, and of course, bold nation live. But when we're talking about something like go to your room, what does that immediately feel like? For me, it's like I feel like horrible. I don't feel good. I feel like a little child. I mean, I hear it. When I hear the words go to your room, I immediately just feel like a little child. I feel like I'm like 4 or 5. I feel hurt. I feel sad. I feel like this person is really big and I'm really small. I feel I have no voice. I feel I guess ashamed, because essentially I was told I did something wrong. So I feel ashamed for that, because none of us want to do obviously anything wrong, especially when we're little. I think being wrong or doing something wrong is sometimes like really misunderstood. So those are some of the feelings that I have. I'd be curious if you wanted to speak to it, or if you want to just type in the chat, some of the things that you're feeling. Oh yeah, I just saw my new tattoo here, and I'm just really excited about it. Yeah, it's really good. Thank you, Paula. Paula, you're the best, Paula. She's going to be on my podcast here in the next few weeks to talk about the power of tattooing. Anyway, back to go to your room. So, I mean, think about all of those feelings as a child. Now you're sitting in your room with a multitude of feelings. Maybe you're like laying in your bed. Maybe you're crying. You hear your family out there doing what they're doing. You've been set aside from the tribe, your family, for doing something wrong. You are essentially in prison for a bit. I know that's a big word, but isn't it just like prison? You're sent there. Someone larger than you, someone that has more authority than you, has the ability to say, go to your room, and you have no voice to speak back. You might try that, but that probably won't get you very far if you if you're being parented in a way that you are being punished. So let's just talk about our room for a minute. Like, as a child, let's talk about what your room was to you, like outside of being sent there to be punished. You know, our rooms were like our kind of, I don't know, it's where we wanted to feel safe when we slept at night. It's where we wanted to maybe just have some quiet time, like chosen quiet time. Maybe it's a place where you went and wrote or colored or played with your dolls, played with your cars, played house, used your imagination. That all happened in your room. Our rooms were truly the space where we could create our own childhood magic place, where we could imagine and pretend and all those good things. You know, I say that, but yeah, I mean, when I say that, it's just, it's so, that feeling for me feels so beautiful, because I remember how that felt. You know, the space that I created in my room, you know, the toys and where I would put them, and the house and the people and the furniture, and where my coloring books were, and my crayons and my books, and all those things. So when you hear something like, go to your room, all of a sudden your room becomes this like scary place. A place that all that magic, and for those moments, everything you've built in your sacred space is kind of gone when you're laying there in like panic or fear, or, you know, let's put another layer. Let's just stick another layer right on top of that. You know, maybe you're a parent that, or had a parent that also spanks. All right. So now you put this third layer of terror, or this second, or however many layers of terror, waiting for this really big person, like a giant, to come thundering through the door with whatever they spank with their hand or whatever else. So now you're laying there waiting for this moment to happen. So double punishment, go to your room, then, you know, waiting for this spanking, because that's oftentimes where it seems to happen. So you've got that layer. So let's picture that for a minute, right? This big blundering person that's 4 or 5 times your size comes blundering through the door, mad, maybe even raging, I mean, I've yet to see like a happy person that wants to get their spank on. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that happens. If you've seen someone, or you have another thought about that, then certainly bring it, and interrupt me at any time. Like, just bring on the conversation, because I'm just going to talk till somebody else talks, and that's just how it's going to be. So yeah, I mean, think about this huge blundering person coming through the door, having whatever they have in their hand. They're 5 times your size. Their voice is big. They're mad. They're rageful. They're angry. And now they want to start hitting you. So let's just call it what it is, right? You can call it spank. I don't care. But it is hitting. So now there's someone like physically hitting, hurting you for this thing that you did. That's kind of like a really like, I don't know. I hope this picture that I'm painting speaks to anyone that really thinks that spanking has a good end result. I'm not going to debate that, because I know there's a lot of feelings around those that want to defend spanking and all this stuff. That's fine. You can defend spanking if that's what you feel. I have just yet to see where what I just described would ever be a good learning experience for a wrong you did. So I am not a believer in spanking. And I'm just going to say it. It's lazy freaking parenting. If that's the best you can do, then I think you need to go to Love and Logic and take a few courses on parenting. And I'm just going to be really blunt about it, because what does it teach? It teaches your child to be a bully. It teaches your child to be, to hit. And oftentimes this is in that same time frame, right? Like, they're hitting. They're starting to like lash out their will. They're starting to like hit and do this and do that. And then all of a sudden you're spanking, and then you're saying, oh, don't hit. So the communication is completely like going nowhere, because that's certainly not their experience. So, and now they're imitating you. So like now they're beginning to, the child between, birth and the loss of the first tooth, per Rudolf Steiner of Waldorf education, really states that children are completely in the imitation stage at that time. So they're imitating everything you do, everything you say. So all the swear words you use, they just love to pick those right on up and use them. It feels really good to use those words. So, just be aware. I mean, they're going to pick up everything. So if you're going to spank, they're going to pick that up too. And you'll probably see it in play. You'll probably see them spanking their dolls and spanking whatever, hitting their friends, however that's going to work itself out of them. So here we've painted the picture where, we've got a big person, they're looming over a child, and they're just hurting the child. There's also, situations where, sometimes, there isn't spanking, but you're sent to your room. You're told to leave the room, and there's never a discussion about it. It's like it's over for them. They've done like they've cooked dinner or done 10 loads of laundry or whatever while you sat in there. And so for them, it's over. And, it's essentially like, just go play, go back and play. And there's never a discussion about what happened, why, wouldn't the picture look so much better to just sit down and maybe go to the room together and have a discussion about what happened? And then there's lots of tools on love and logic that you can learn to do in those discussions. I'm not going to go into all that, but there's just so much rich information out there that you can really do to make that experience of learning and teaching a child what's right and what's wrong the right way. So I go into that to so much detail because, it's like this, right? All of that happened as a child, right? And what I said is that, essentially like no discussion happened about that. So, you just went through those scenarios probably over and over and over again. And as you got older, going to your room didn't apply so much. And that methodology changed, and it probably became things like, grounding or other things that happen with an adult child. So now we're moving ourselves into our adult experience. So essentially all that go to your room, big person, all that, scary. Anyone that uses a booming voice, unless it's danger, it's gaslighting if you're like just using a booming voice because you can and because you have the authority to do so. It is essentially, let's just leave it at that, right? It's a bully tactic because they essentially will, try to think that you might, talk back or try to argue with that idea of you're going to your room. So I'm writing. This is why on this flip side of this, I find this. I find this other piece of it so exciting because I feel like through this childhood influences course, another course is birthing out of me, and it's called "How Old Are You?" And what that essentially means is, in your adult life, how old are you? What are you bringing? How old are you when you bring it? When you're in relationships, when you're in marriage, when you're dating, when you're friendships, anything relation, at work, career, boss. All this plays into how old are you? So let's just say, for instance, that you met someone, you're going on a date, and you're just finding yourself really flustered. Maybe this person is a bit of a strong personality, or maybe they're just so beautiful you're at a loss for words. All kinds of things in like that, or handsome, whatever. And when you find yourself at a loss of words, if you just stop for 1 minute and go, how old am I right now? Who am I bringing? Am I bringing my 5-year-old self? Am I bringing my 13-year-old self? My teenager self? Not feeling confident? All those things that, potentially we felt at that age. It's just really interesting. In a situation like that, it's really important. If you're not feeling your typical authentic self, it's really important for you to check in and say, maybe there's even just a word that they use that was a trigger that brought you back to 5 years old, 7 years old, 13 years old, 18 years old. I don't know, whatever year old. But I think it's just important to be so self-aware that these childhood influences really come out and really present themselves. And we can really present like that 7-year-old and not even know it. So that kind of just won't work, right? And what if you're in an argument, like with your husband or wife? You're having an argument, and one person is being a little bit more bullyish than probably what should be happening, or trying to persuade you or dissuade you, or whatever is happening. How does that trigger that little girl or boy that was sent to the room, right? Now we've got someone, that is angry at us, potentially saying we did something wrong in their opinion. What does that little girl or boy want to do? How do they feel? Who are they bringing in that moment? Are they bringing that kicking and screaming little girl or boy that's like waiting for the spanking, like completely terrorized, waiting for that? Again, how old are you? And then we bring another really interesting layer into this, and this is the layers of, like, let's say, intimacy, sex, all of that. I mean, I know for me, sometimes when I'm really triggered by some bullish behavior, or someone that really does their best to try to guilt me, or so on and so forth, I find myself oftentimes like fetal position in my bed, like covers over my head. I never want to come out. Like, essentially, I am that little girl, cover over my head. I don't want to come out. I don't want to face the big person. I don't want to face the anger. I've got my comfy comforter wrapped all around me. I mean, that is a visual, right? Back to go to your room. So let's just talk about what I was just saying about intimacy and relationship and sex. So let's talk about the idea of someone really going through an experience like that, an argument, and you might literally like flail yourself into your room just to get away, just to have a moment, like, I need space, and they're not giving you space. You have to go somewhere, and maybe your go-to place is your room, because that is your sanctuary. So then maybe a day later, or hours later, or an hour later, I don't know, there's been some kind of makeup, or I'm sorry, or won't happen again, that kind of thing. And then there might be a little, I don't know, intimate conversation, which leads to more intimacy, which then all of a sudden here we're looking at this bed that has now been my my rescue, and now I'm supposed to feel sexual, intimate, open after I just closed myself into a ball. So how do these go to your room triggers, serve you as an adult? Are we aware they're happening? Who do you become in that sexual moment? Who do you become? Like, are you now back to that like 5-year-old? Well, that's a weird thought, that I know it happens. Like, you are just feeling afraid. You're not open. Your body is closed down. And then that brings up a whole nother like set of like guiltings. And the guiltings just go on and on and on and spiral through those guilting experiences. So I feel like just, the takeaway from this is just that one of the things I just really have found that's important is when you're feeling triggered, when you're feeling emotion, when you're feeling upset, ask yourself, like really sit down with yourself and ask you, how old am I right now? That alone will be such a powerful transformation for you. And I ask you once and for all to make your room the true sacred space that it can and should be for you. And experience a lot of boundaries around what is acceptable to you after you have been through a traumatic experience, a fight, a disagreement, a bad date. I mean, goes a bad day at work, a boss that yells at you. Set boundaries around whomever is the opponent as to what is acceptable for the time frame you need, what you need, what needs to happen to make that space, if it's a shared bedroom, what needs to happen to that shared space to make it sacred again? It must go through that ceremony. If it doesn't go through that ceremony, then that space will just be contaminated, and you'll say yes when you mean no. Just a multitude of things will happen. So I hope you've been able to see why this topic, go to your room, is so powerful. I hope that at the end of the day, if there are parents listening to this, that you make other choices, take the time to learn about what your options are in disciplining, what your options are in working with children as they grow up. I have one little tidbit that I'll just throw out there in closing, and that's that because I've given some ideas for the adults in this situation. But as a parent, I have used what's called the kindness bench or the kindness place. And I just encourage you, when your child is acting out or your child is upset, that maybe you have a blanket with you all the time that you can always carry in your purse, or it's in the car, or it's somewhere close to you. And when your child's having a tantrum, or your child's upset, or your child's angry, or your child's lashing out at another child, if you can pull out that kindness blanket, kindness, whatever it is, maybe have a kindness place in your home, like a kindness bench in your home, or a kindness chair or something like that. But when you're out and about, a blanket works really well, very lightweight blanket, or even like a lightweight silk square that's really lightweight. You can you could really bundle that up in your purse. But it is amazing. It is a place where you can just have your child sit with you. Let's go to the kindness bench and let's talk about, where is your kindness? Is your kindness under that rock? Is your kindness? Yeah, they're like, yeah. And your kindness is gone. And they begin to understand that, is it coming back? Is your kindness back? And through that discussion, you'll see the magic they experience will dispel the everything else that's happening. And it really teaches them, because, when that is happening, they truly have lost their kindness. So I just give you that as something that works really well as a parent. It's much better than go to your room if a child is acting out. So I hope that this has been meaningful to you. I hope you've learned something new that you didn't know before. And I really will love to hear the comments. This is streaming live on YouTube as well right now. So I'm just love to see what everyone thinks. And I hope to see you next week at 3 o'clock. Bye for now.